Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from the beautiful metaverse and more specifically from beautiful Danville, Illinois, homeland of the Corellian tradition. And this is Midday with Reverend Don. Welcome. And as you know, if you follow Midday with Reverend Don, you can type your questions or comments into whatever platform you're watching on, and assuming that you are watching live, they will show up here in my chat room and we can talk directly. And I hope you're having a lovely day. I was originally going to be joined today by Ed the Pagan. He is not available as it happens, so I will be talking myself about the Pagan Freedom ritual from 1 year ago today. And hello to Arlene in the chat room. It's good to see you, Arlene. And Arlene was in that ritual, as I'm sure she will remember. And hello to Cassandra Waldron in the chat room. It's good to see you. And hello to April McLeish in this chat room. It's good to see you. And hello to Janet Gann. It's good to see you. It's good to see all of you. So today we're going to be talking about the Pagan Freedom ritual from the 9th convening of the Parliament of the World's Religions. And on this channel at 1 p.m. Central or 2 Eastern, 1 hour from now, we will be rebroadcasting the ritual itself. So if you'd like to see the ritual itself, you can see it at that time. And hello to Gwenny in the chat room. It's good to see you. And of course, it will also still be available throughout the day and in perpetuity, because our videos continue to be available indefinitely. So you can always see them. You don't have to catch them live. You can come back to them. And in discussing the Pagan Freedom ritual and why it's important to us still and why it will be in the future, and hello to Renee in the chat room, there are a number of things that I want to emphasize. And the first one is, again, some of the things I emphasized about the Parliament itself, talking about this on previous occasions. And hello to Ed Carr in the chat room. It's good to see you. Hello to Janet Winston. It's good to see you too. The thing that's so important about the Parliament of the World's Religions, and hello to Mystique Wright in the chat room, is getting out on the world stage, being seen for who we are, meeting other people, and letting them see us for who we are. So often people have misunderstandings, not just of our religion, but of any religion other than their own, if they've never met anyone from it, if they've never seen a ritual from a different religion. And, you know, there is nowhere better than the Parliament of the World's Religions for this kind of exchange, because everybody who's there has come with a desire to meet people from other backgrounds and to learn about those backgrounds. So their walls are already down. Their gates are open, so to speak. They want to learn. They want to get to know us. And so it's very important for us to be available, to be known. This is also the idea behind things like Pagan Pride Day or the old Pagan Expos, to make our community accessible to the wider community so that people who might not otherwise have a chance to get to know us can do so in a situation that is low pressure, where everybody has come wanting to learn. And this is a valuable, valuable thing. Hello to Kai Aiden in the chat room. It's good to see you. It's good to have such a lovely audience always. And you know, I love spending this time with you. I love all of you. I love our little talks together every day, or almost every day. In the case of the Pagan Freedom ritual, there were two reasons, I think, for the subject of this ritual. One was the state of the world, and the other was the theme of the Parliament, which was call to freedom and defense of human rights. And, you know, pagans around the world are often on the front lines of the fight for human rights and civil rights. Many parts of the world, many religions that might be classed as pagan experience significant amounts of discrimination. This even happens sometimes still in the United States, although the situation is better than it once was, owing to an overall favorable treatment by the media, which has helped to fulfill that role of exposing people to what we really are, as opposed to what fantasies they might be fed by other sources. The pagan freedom ritual at the Parliament was intended to aim at increasing freedom for everyone around the world, and particularly for pagans, because this was the pagan ritual, but in general. And, a year later, I don't know, do we feel like there's a significant difference? I feel like there's been a little bit of a difference in where we stand today versus a year ago. Though certainly there are still lots of things to be concerned about. And, if we speak about the entire world, I don't know if we've come forward or gone backwards. But we've been heading backwards for a while, so we can't expect to turn around and go forwards all at once. But I think in some ways we are moving forward again. And I think that this ritual and others like it, the Corellian Peace Campaign, for example, are part of what is powering that change. Of course, people's actions are the main thing powering it. But energetic changes affect action. They affect people. And, and hello to Steve Taylor in the chat room. It's good to see you. I mean, there's a very justified reaction to the use of phrases like thoughts and prayers as being people's reaction to things, because, thoughts and prayers, while they may have an effect, are not generally what's really needed to change the situation. Action is needed. This is true with ritual as well. Ritual is wonderful. It can make big changes, can make big energetic changes, but it still needs our actions to be manifest in the world. And Lady Kai says, I got some great photos of the ritual. It was very moving. It was. And I hope people will stay tuned or return at one to actually see the ritual. And the ritual was put together by the Chicago pagan community, specifically led by Twyla York. And it included a number of people from that community, such as Laura Gonzalez, who is one of the great priestesses of Chicago, and also a variety of attendees at the Parliament, including several international attendees. And those included members of the Aquarian Tabernacle delegation, including Belladonna Laveau and Dusty Dion, and also a number of our Corellian people, including Sir Rolando Comon, and Sir Eric Hebert, and Sir Arlene Hebert. And yes, it was a lovely ritual. There were many people in it, heavily involved. We were actively covering it. We also had an aspect of it tied into the crystal web. If you remember from this time last year, we spent several weeks preparing to disseminate this energy through the crystal web, which we did. So it was a lovely evening. It was beautiful. It was on the patio of the McCormick Center looking out over Lake Michigan. It could not have been a more beautiful location. Well attended, beautifully performed. I'm not beginning to mention everyone who was in it, but it was a beautiful ritual. But the point of the ritual, which is focusing energy toward freedom, and therefore also justice, because there is no freedom without justice, was the most important part. And it raised a great deal of energy. I'm sure everyone who was there would agree. It was sent out both through the ritual itself and through the crystal web. And as I was saying, I feel like we've seen some positive changes during that time. Now, we still have all kinds of challenges in the road to a truly free and just society. And Project 2025 is probably the #1 challenge to the forces of good in the world. And I think a lot of people are forgetting about that, or are naive enough to think that a single election is going to sabotage that. They've been working on this for many, many years, and they'll continue winning regardless of who wins, or they'll continue working regardless of who wins this election. And their hope is to continue winning, whether they win the election or not. And with the court system so heavily tilted in their direction at this moment, they're in a good position to do that. But there are things that can be done, and certainly just continuing to work against it is one of the most important things, and not forgetting that it's there. I believe they've subsequently renamed Project 2025 maybe a couple of times now. But it's still the same. It's not going to change unless it's to get worse. If they say they've changed it, don't believe it. It is the major focus of evil in our day, if you want to use that term. And if there's anything for which the term is worthy, it would be that. And what do we do to fight this? Well, continuing to work for freedom and justice, both through ritual and also through our daily activities, and through involving ourselves in various things that move this forward. And it's vitally important we continue to do this. Now, going back to that night, a year ago, it was a wonderful night. I think that everyone who was there felt very good about it. I think everyone was very proud of the Chicago community. The Corellian tradition gave a lavender stole to Twyla York that night to honor her importance to the pagan world. If you're not familiar with that means, that declares her an honorary member of the Corellian high priesthood. It was a wonderful night. There were many different aspects of that ritual. It was very much aligned to the 4 directions, very much like, for example, a Corellian lustration might be. If I remember correctly, 3 of the 4 directions were Corellian. I do not have the picture in front of me. Let me see if I can remember more of the people who were in that ritual. Because I saw the photo just a little bit ago. But again, we will be replaying this photo here in a little while. Oh, and of course, Lady Rain. Lady Rain was in the ritual. Lady Rain was one of our special guests from South Africa. And Sir Rolando Camon, our special guest from the Philippines, was in the ritual. And Eric and Darlene were in the ritual. So 3 of the 4 directions were Corellian, which I'm very proud of. It was a beautiful ritual. And it was a great time. I'm going to take a moment for something that we're going to be starting doing, but haven't done too much in the past. A message from our sponsor. And that's going to take a little getting used to. But that was our our first sponsor message, and the sponsor, of course, is me, Rev Don's Magic and Metaphysical Auctions through Gaia Thrift Central at whatnot.com. And those happen on Thursdays at 7. I will not be doing one tonight, but I will be doing the normal auction next week. And I hope that that you'll join me for that. And we'll have many interesting metaphysical items. And we've been looking around for the best time to do this. And we shall see. We'll see if it stops on Thursday or not. We've tried it at different times. We last tried it on a Saturday afternoon, and people were out enjoying their summer day. And so, but we'll see more of that. Now, Lady Kai in the chat room made the statement that every step forward helps, even when we don't see widespread movement. This is a very important point that Lady Kai makes. We don't always see everything that's happening. And, granted, when we are practicing the psychic arts, we may have a little bit more of a clue that certain things are coming that will otherwise be a surprise. But we may still not exactly see it. But that should not stop us from doing that next right thing. And working toward freedom, working toward justice is always that next right thing. And to have Lady Rain and Sir Rolando and Eric and Arlene in this ritual with Dusty and Belladonna from the ATC and Maura and Twyla and others from Chicago, it was a great honor to be so heavily involved in it. But also, it was wonderful to be able to be involved in it. And one of the things that I tend to feel is that when you record a ritual like this and then play it back, in an astral manner, it repeats, it strengthens, it goes forth again. And particularly if you are, for example, going to watch this ritual later today, and you invest your energy in it, it's not the same as if it were live, but it is sending out those energies again. It is strengthening the effect. I know some people who don't like for their rituals to be recorded. It's obviously not a point of view I agree with, and this is one of the reasons. When we make a recording of a ritual, we're creating a kind of automaton, a magical item that will work on its own when it is started to carry out certain things, in this case, the purposes of that ritual. I think every time you watch that video, you are strengthening this effect. You're sending it out again. And so I encourage you, not just to remember what it was like, not just to see the beautiful ritual itself, but also to strengthen those energies, to send them out anew into the world. Watch the video when it replays a little later today. We'll be replaying that at 1 p.m. Also, later this afternoon, we are going to have several interviews that we'll be rebroadcasting from the Parliament. The next several days, we'll be rebroadcasting various videos from the Parliament. Today, we have an interview with Sir Rolando Gomez Comon, Apuadman Agama from the Philippines, which will be at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. An interview with Patricia Robin Woodruff, which will be at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. And I believe I'm getting the times correct. Let me just double check, make sure I'm telling you correctly. But as I say, we have Robin Woodruff. And then we also have, a little bit later, Tarot Thursday at the Parliament of World's Religions. And this is another long broadcast from the Parliament. recreating Tarot Thursday. And, if you were with us the other day when we were speaking with Reverend Mary Hawk, she was saying she will never forget reading tarot on the Parliament of the World Religions floor. That it was a unique experience in various ways, including the interesting reactions she got from some. And if you'd like to see that, that'll be airing later today. Now, tomorrow, we will have a number of additional videos, which will include Melanie Silver, Rose Hodge, Elder Lady Amber Dawn, Cosmo Rubiconis, and I think you'll find it quite interesting. And then on Saturday, we will have the regional illustration from the Parliament. We will have the interview with Mary Malinsky, the Aquarian Archpriestess for Canada, with Oberon Zell, an interview with Sahil Ahmed, and there are various others that we will be playing as well. So help us in remembering this wonderful event, and remind yourself of some of the interesting people who were there, some of the fun things that happened. On Sunday, we'll have the film Journey to the Parliament, which will be talking about the 30 years of the modern Parliament in particular. And it's just going to be a lovely time. We'll also be continuing to upload photos from the Parliament, and various private individuals have been uploading their photos and videos as well. So enjoy this this memory. And what is so important about this memory? Well, there are two things in my point of view that are so important about this. One is to remind us of the importance of that theme, the call to freedom and human rights, and that we keep that focus, that we continue to work on freedom, on peace, on justice, and that we continue to work against those who would oppress the world, who would force the world back into the dark ages. They've gained a lot of power in recent years, and we need to ourselves stay focused. The other thing, as Corellians, this was a very proud moment for our tradition. It was the result of many months of steady preparation, and we really showed the world how strong we are as a tradition. And, a year later, we have shown our strength and resilience in the fact that we are still here, we are still strong, we are still going forward, and we are still commemorating our past as we build our future. And these are very important things. And well, that's interesting. I'm not quite sure how that happened. But these are very important things. And it's important for us to not be sidetracked from the important things in life. And one of the things I've been talking about leadership a lot recently, and one of the various other things we've been talking about is the Witch Wars Defense Manual Volume 2. But one of the things I can tell you that I'm pretty sure is going to be mentioned in that book, but certainly should be mentioned in any conversation about leadership, is that you cannot let yourself be distracted. And there are constant forces trying to distract you in various ways. We see this very strongly in the world around us at present. All kinds of attempts to defocus people's attention from the things they should be focused on, the things that endanger them, like Project 2025, and focus them on all kinds of little differences and possible divisions instead, to prevent them from being able to effectively oppose that agenda. Distraction is one of the greatest tools that those who do not mean you well are likely to use against you. Do not let yourself be distracted. Remain focused on what is important. For the Corellian tradition, our continued health and success is something that we should remain focused on because we have achieved it, we have earned it. And we should continue to celebrate our people. And again, one of our biggest achievements in this last year was the very large presence that we had at the Parliament of the World's Religions. And, for years we've worked up to this. It took a long time to do it. And I hope that you will, like myself, greatly enjoy commemorating it 1 year later. And I have to say, for me, the highlight was the opening procession, which we put up photos and things from yesterday. And the fact that Lord Phoenix, Lady Rain, and myself were actually on the main stage at the end of that opening procession, which is a great honor and not something that everyone is invited to do. To come to the point that we were on that stage when 30 years earlier we were barely welcome at the event really speaks to what staying focused and doing that next right thing can achieve in life. And that 30 years was full of all kinds of conflicts and other things that happened. But it didn't stop us and it didn't distract us. And that is how you get things done. We were willing to take 30 years to do it. And it did take 30 years to do it. And that's one of the other things, as we come down to the end of our half hour, that I will emphasize to you. Is that not everything can be done in a month. Not everything can be done in 1 year. Sometimes not in 10. And if you really want to affect the world for the better, sometimes you have to be thinking in 30 and 50 and 100-year installments, even knowing that when that time has passed, you may no longer physically be here in this form, though you may well have been reincarnated. But that doesn't mean that you can't be part of the inception now. And they say the wise man is the person, or the wise person is the one who plants the fruit trees, whose fruit they will never live to see, but which will enrich subsequent generations. And this is absolutely so. It's not only those things we ourselves will enjoy now in this life that are worth our attention, but the things that build a better future. And that, to me, is a big part of that pagan freedom ritual at the Parliament. Yes, it wanted to make an immediate difference to the freedom of the people in the world, to the justice of the world, but also a long-term difference. And as we do things like the peace campaign, for example, we must be aware that we can't change everything overnight. Would be great if our magic were that strong, if our actions were that sweeping. But what we cannot change overnight, we can change over time. And I think that is my primary message to you today, to not be obsessed with just what you can do in the moment, but with everything that you can do over time. And with that, I see we've come to the end of our half hour. I want to thank you for joining me again. In half an hour from now, we will be rebroadcasting the Pagan Freedom Ritual from the Parliament. You can watch it then or later at your leisure, because it will continue to be there. And with that, let us close with our prayer as we always do. Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for all that you do for us in our lives, and we rejoice in this walk we walk together. We ask you to help us to remain vigilant of all of the things we need to do the next right thing in our lives, to build the better future we hope to see, to be the change that we pray for. Help us to build that better world. Help us to make a world of greater justice for everyone and greater peace for all. and help us to be patient with however long that takes, knowing that the best things are worth waiting for, and that not everything can be done quickly. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father, ancestors, we thank you for your aid now and always, and from respect, we thank you for your presence. May you be blessed now and always, and may you be blessed now and always. And thank you for joining me, and hope